how to unlock your full potential. Hey, what's holding you back from being at your very best? Oh, I know. It's snooze button. It's time to get up. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where we break down the steps to growth, success, and how to reach the fullest potential that you have inside of you. Hey, I'm your host. I'm Keith Billison. Before we dive in, just a reminder, always, it's a heads up. This is an R-rated experience, so just a fair warning. If you got the little ones around, grab the headphones, stick the Q-tips in the ears, do whatever you got to do to get those kids out of the room so they don't hear the fair weather sounds of some of the hosts on the show who might drop an F-bomb, S-bomb, any kind of bomb around here today, but just a little heads up warning. But hey, today we are all about unlocking your full potential. We're going to tackle the obstacles that hold you back. There's an obstacle right now. You're laying there, you're looking at it. It's your snooze clock. It's your alarm clock. You're wondering, do you lay over? Do you roll over? Do you start the day, or do you get your ass to the bed? I know, get your ass to the bed. Get going. Let's go. I got my amazing crew here today. We got C Marty, John Anderson, Christina Flynn, and of course, we have back Richie Rich Ingram here, of course, as well. And hey, the guy pressing the buttons, producer Jimmy. And we got a new guy maybe pressing some buttons along the way as well. Good morning, Felix. Good to have you around watching and hanging out with us this morning. And if that's not enough, we got a special guest joining us today. Dr. MC Claire Bork is joining us. Dr. MC is a mental health and peak performance specialist with Toronto Maple Leafs and so forth. And of course, AJ Zeglin is joining us from Mind Fuel later today. MC is going to give us a breakdown on mental resilience and how to achieve peak performance. We've got an engaging conversation. The morning loop's coming up in a few moments. The first unpredictable 15 minutes. Hey, Richie has been off in some adventure, and he teased it in my ear a couple days ago. And I'm like, oh my God, we got to hear all about that. So Rich is going to tell us what he's been up to in the morning loop. Plus, we got in the gym with John and Marty coming up in the second hour. And myself, Christina Flynn, are going to do business and branding. And of course, Community Corner, Creator Spotlight. And hey, remember, around the corner next week is No Month. I know you guys got big goals. I know you got big ambitions, but hey, here's the reality. You can't say yes. You can't achieve something with a big yes attached to it if you don't say a bunch of no's first, because you got all these things you want to do, but all these obstacles in the way. So we got to teach you how to say no. So November, No Month, say no to a bunch of things so you can say yes to one thing. But hey, let's rock and roll. Jimmy, I'm going to move my way to this camera over here. Let's check out what the crew is wearing today, and let's bring everybody up on stage. We got Johnny in the black on black with no excuses. We got Marty in the pink, less brunches, no crunches with the red. Producer Flynn's in black on black, and of course, I'm in black on black with black hat and the brown glasses. And Richie Rich is joining us here today in, I think he's donned in some kind of a short sleeve, maybe plaid shirt, a blue vest, and
Rich
rocking.
looks like a tech entrepreneur right now.
Out of the Orbis catalog.
You got that Sonya vest. Where are you? The Bay Area right now?
It's cold in here. I keep it chilly in the house.
How we were going to dive Richie Rich, so I'm glad you helped me with that one, Flinner. Yeah. So what's going on, team? How is everybody this morning?
It is another great day without a name.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Hey.
Come on, Marty. What are you going to get? So you're going to give me just a little head tip? Come on.
Nope, you got it. We're just getting started. I'm going to let you do your thing, man.
I'll let you do your thing.
Hey, so yesterday, good morning, everybody. Over 1,500 of you showed up yesterday morning, so I'm very grateful and appreciative for that. That's awesome. You guys all showed up for the show here. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I invite you to subscribe to it, like it, share it with your friends, tell everybody about this brand new morning show that helps men get their day started and help those big audacious goals going forth here. We got Decore here on the comments. Good morning, Decore. But Johnny, you tackled you're down in the Baja here still this morning. You said you tackled something before you got on the show. What did you get done this morning, brother? I think you got something.
I always catch up, man. My morning, I don't really call it a workout. It's physical, but it's not for my body. It's for my mind. And so it's actually funny enough. I'm starting to tweak it a little bit as in my 50s, I'm 52 now. I'm starting to notice that my thoracic twists need some attention. So I started putting that in there. So I've been doing like this. I basically do a trampoline when I'm in my California house. So there's no trampoline here. So I just bounce like I'm jumping, like I was getting ready for a wrestling match or something. Then I do a burpee right? Then I go down and I do a push-up, then I spin my left arm towards the ceiling, down, push up, spin my right arm. So I'm basically working my thoracic twist. And I'll tell you, for those of you that have a hard time twisting, just a little bit every day. I'm on my third day of this, and I can't believe how much easier it is for me to do this. Unbelievable.
Richie, I noticed you have something's drawing attention to. What do you?
The last time I was on the show and John was talking about thoracic twist, he was talking about wiping his ass with both hands.
Yeah, when I can't get back there with both hands easily, I got to take some. The toilet alone is not getting the job done.
It's an indicator.
Yes.
I take
3 dumps. I take 3 dumps a day, and clearly 3 times going for the job anymore. It's not getting
you gotta get a bidet. You got to get a bidet. Have somebody do it for you.
Bidets, but all I'm doing is just patting it dry. There's no cleaning going on. The water does it.
Oh, man. Funny. So I've never thought of thoracic twists ever the same again, ever since, Marty, I met Johnny. And you and I have had laughter with Johnny about thoracic twists because, Marty, I know you've had your conversations with him about doing stretches. And now we got Richie, part of our crew, and he's thinking of thoracic twists and wiping your ass and John Anderson all in one sentence. That's what Rich thinks of.
Deep cheeks.
Perfect.
Deep cheeks also. Don't miss that.
Deep cheeks, yeah.
Rich has got the ultimate thoracic twist if he's going to wipe with his left side. I'm telling you, you can get that done with the left side. You don't need any work on the thoracic twist, brother.
Oh, look, man, toilet seats now, you get a blower. You get the bidet and you get a blower. You don't have to do anything. It's amazing technology.
I guess I'm not living life because I never experienced none of that.
Blower would work great. Like the blower works great in your hands because your hands aren't fucking covered with hair. If your hands were covered with hair, that blower wouldn't work the same. Now, imagine what I'm talking about with cleaning the deep cheeks. When that thing is filled with hair, a blower ain't gonna get the job done.
So do you wash your hands? So you wipe your ass, and then you go wash your hands, and then you go back to the toilet to put your hands over the blower at the toilet?
No, I don't have a blower. I basically just get the job done. I just hit the button on the wall. Everything's set up. It's like a car. It's like in our cars. When you get in, you can hit the number 1 button. That's for me. The number 2 is for Terry. So I hit the number 1 on the bidet. Boom, it comes out. It's my setting.
Get it under
I get cleaned up.
Well,
and then it's just a piece of paper, a dab on each side, and dry it off, and we're off to the races, baby.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Christina, to keep this conversation going.
No, you're gonna jump in? What the fuck?
No, I'm gonna disagree. I don't like the blower. I'm gonna tell you why I don't like the blower. If I'm drying my hands, this is why I don't like the blower. Because you already in all that poop funk. You got all in that poop smell. Now you put more. You're drying your hands with poop smell. That's how I feel when I use the blower. I don't like
the blower. He's talking about blower for the deep cheeks, not for the hands on the bidet, brother.
I don't like that. That's what I'm getting at.
Blower, but not the other blower.
Oh, hold on. I got some.
That's what I'm getting at. Hold on, John. I'm almost done. If I don't like it on my hands, why do I want to blow more poop funk on my butt after I'm done?
If you got poop funk on your butt, you didn't stay in a bidet long enough. That's the whole point of the bidet.
You're doing it wrong, man.
Yeah,
I haven't used it, so maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
You got to step up the toilet game. You got to get that bidet in there, baby.
Keith, do you know what I'm saying, Keith?
Hold on. I got to back up real quick. This is for you, baby.
Just break it down for us. Keep it real simple for the audience.
Check it out. Now, this is for you. I love you, but I got to say, you give us these wonderful talks about being yourself and authentically yourself and accepting yourself. This is what I'm doing, man. This is
I love it.
I love it too.
And you got to be supporting this because this is what you talk about in your segments.
John, we talked about this. We're entertaining. We're all playing a role. My role is you guys. I'm normal. This is what we do. We play. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But you support no fucks.
You know that I support you. Through and through, deep cheeks and all.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got you all.
Yeah, see, there's something about when you can talk about this kind of stuff with anybody who wants to watch, you're really comfortable with yourself.
Coming up, a brand new segment on the show.
Keith, real quick, Keith. John's shirt says "fuck excuses." You said "fuck no excuses." I wanted to just correct you real quick. Go ahead, brother. Continue what you were doing. Hey, keep doing what you were doing, Keith. Sorry.
Good catch, baby.
Marty, I think we're going to start a new segment. Keith and Marty dissect how John wipes his ass.
That actually would be. We could do a segment daily because John always got some shit to say about his shit.
I'll tell you. I got legs day today. I got lunges. I've never looked at lunges in my life the same ever since I learned about deep cheeks. I'm telling you, Johnny, I think about lunges and deep cheeks I look at asses, never the same again, because I wonder how cheeks are. I wonder how the thong goes when somebody's wearing underwear. Like, Johnny, you've completely changed my mind around asses and deep cheeks. And I like a nice ass, but now I'm always cheeks, Johnny.
Now it's time for you guys to understand how you gauge the deep cheek. If you really want, if we're gonna go in. We're gonna go all the way in.
Dr. MC is in the green room. I just feel like we need to come to terms. We are a smart group of people. Don't get this indication of how you look at us. Deep cheek does have, there's some biological reasons for the deep cheeks, and just please don't leave the green room.
Yeah, she's about to be out of here.
She's about to
leave. Into. Hey, don't let me go hang out with the Maple Leafs. Just go talk about deep cheeks, as per John Anderson.
Because we talked about this context and everything, y'all. What's the cheek?
That's right.
We don't the context. It doesn't matter. We don't give a shit about context. People can jump in here at any time and they can hear us talking, or what the fuck are these motherfuckers saying? That's exactly what we're all about. And if they want to know, they can rewind this motherfucker when it's over.
All right, let's keep rocking and rolling, Jimmy. We're talking morning poop during the morning loop, and we were going to talk about Richie's race, but we're going to move on to the Reloaded segment because we've got hung up talking about deep cheeks here, mornings and love. But hey, listen, I know today's topic is all about unlocking your full potential. No, not mine, not John, not Marty's, but your full potential. But here's the thing. We all have these barriers that keep us from reaching our peak. It's true. Yeah, some of these barriers, even other people. Yeah, but the toughest barriers are the internal ones. You're rolling over right now going, I'm going to hit the snooze button. I'll start my big journey next week. I'll wait till Monday. You know what I mean? Like, it's that self-doubt, the fear, the lack of discipline. Let me tell you something, nation. Unlocking your full potential, it means getting brutally honest about what's holding you back. Maybe you don't want a bidet. Maybe you don't want to use the toilet paper. Maybe you're looking for deep cheeks. But then you're wondering if you have the guts to face how you're going to create those deep cheeks. So listen, whether it's the fear of failure, fear of judgment, or just plain comfort, whatever it is, today is about breaking that down. And I want you to think about this, guys. If you could remove one obstacle from your life right now, what would it be? Would it be the snooze button? Nah, it just might be. For me, it's always been about staying disciplined. And relentless discipline. It's just not about getting up and hitting the gym or grinding out the hours. It's about keeping promises to yourself, especially when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, when you'd rather do anything else. And right now you're laying there going, I'm going to hit the snooze button. No, get up. So listen, that's how you unlock your potential. You get your ass out of bed, you get moving. It's showing up for yourself again and again and again and again until you start to believe in your own superpower. So Business Athlete Nation, today I'm going to challenge you. What promise can you make to yourself today? Don't wait till no month. Don't wait till November. What promise can you make to yourself that will move that needle starting right now? Drop it in the comments. Let me hear what you have to say. Hey, don't forget, no month's almost here. Don't wait for no month. Johnny, what do you got to say to that, brother, before we go to the accountability check-in?
I say that's good, man. I love this. Don't wait. Don't wait for November. Don't wait for New Year's. If you're making a New Year's resolution, it's because you've been saying, I'll do it tomorrow, which means you're already on the wrong track. So fuck this whole New Year's resolution. Wait until November. Right here, right now.
That's right. And Johnny's right. And so we put November on the table to give you guys that caveat of what's coming on the radar. But hey, there's no need to start because November's coming. So if you want to get ahead of the guys that are starting November 1st for November, start today. True story. True story. All right, Jimmy, we're going to bring MC in here in about 90 seconds. But before we do that, we're going to get to the accountability check-in. All right. And then we're going to bring Dr. MC and we're going to get into a discussion about how to unlock your full potential with Rich, Marty, Johnny, and Dr. MC. We're not talking deep cheeks. Nope, we're done with that. Still the second half of the hour. All right. So why does it feel like no matter how hard you push, it's never enough? I know. I've been there with you. You grind your ass off at work. You try to stay healthy. You squeeze in that time for yourself. You schedule. You're like, oh, I'm all disciplined. But yet something feels off. And the more you chase balance, the more you feel like you're falling short. That's because you've fallen for the biggest lie ever told. You know what that big lie is? It's called work-life balance. I'm here to tell you it's bullshit. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Nope, not at all. Life doesn't work in perfect halves. No perfect harmony. No, it's an ebb and flow. It's more here, less here. It's more less and less. It's an ebb and flow. Some days you crush work. Other days your health, relationships need more from you. Listen, business athletes, we don't aim for balance. No, we maximize every aspect of our life. We have our non-negotiables. We're accountable in everything that we do. We recognize that the need to give more and sometimes to give less. We show up fully whenever we're needed most. So listen, that balance that sets you up to feel like a failure, toss it aside. Create that harmony. That nation will make you unstoppable. Listen, if you don't agree with me, if you disagree, if you agree, let's hear your comment in the comments. Let's see what you have to say in the comments. All right, listen, before we continue, if there's one thing that you are ready to change to unlock your full potential, let us know in the comments. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about the greatest morning show you've discovered, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. And let us know what you're thinking. All right, Jimmy, let's bring the rest of the crew up on stage and welcome in here. Everybody's showing up here this morning. Richie, Marty, Jimmy, and of course, our guest here this morning, Dr. MC Bork.
What's up, Doc?
MC.
Hi, nice
How are you?
Nice to be here.
How are you, Doc?
I'm great. Yeah, it's pretty early here, but it's nice to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Hold on a second here. Where are you located this morning?
British Columbia, Canada. So it's 5:20 a.m. here.
All right, so
I'm with you.
I'm in Manitoba, Canada, so you got some Canadians here with him. So I appreciate you getting your rear end out of bed early this morning. You're hanging out in the time zone as Johnny this morning, which is awesome. So listen, we're gonna break down how to unlock your full potential, specifically through maximizing your mental fitness. Our guest today, Dr. MC Bork, is a mental health and peak performance specialist introduced to us by our good friend Rich Ingram. She's a specialist who works with high performing athletes, including, oh man, do I got to admit this out loud? Yeah, including the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sorry to all my Jets friends and all my buddies on the Jets over there. She works with the team down the road there. Yep, of course she does, the Maple Leafs. She's here to share her experience and expertise on understanding and managing the unique stressors that high performers face, like Rich Ingram, and how to develop the resilience necessary to overcome them. Dr. MC, totally excited to have you here today. Before we get into it, I got to ask you, when you join the green room and you come into this conversation about bidets and wiping rear ends and deep cheeks, did you really wonder what the hell you got yourself into this morning? Why you rolled out of bed this early in the morning? You're like, Richie Rich, what did you get me into, man?
Number one, I wanted to know whether you're talking about Italian bidets or Japanese bidets because they're very different.
Johnny?
Japanese.
Amazing. Those are my favorite.
I'm with you. I'm not down with the Italian one.
Number two, I deep cheeks, and I regretted Googling deep cheeks. Yeah, so there we go. Here we are. I was happy to be here. Rich, I trust Rich. Rich says this is where I need to be. I'm here, regardless of the bidet deep cheeks.
For the trust. Thank you for the trust.
Deep cheeks while she's listening to our opening monologue. I imagine.
Oh, man.
Can't imagine
I can
what
only
popped
imagine
up.
what came out, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We're rated PG compared to what she was seeing, I bet you.
I hope that's incognito. You got some cookies now.
Let's get into the conversation center stage. Dr. MC, we often hear about how mental fitness is just as important as physical fitness, especially for high performers. But in your experience, Dr. MC, what are some of let's get right to the basics here. What are some of the common mental barriers that hold people back, let's talk men specifically, from achieving their peak performance?
I think I was listening to you a little bit earlier, Keith, and you nailed it. A lot of the negotiations that happen within our own head, the voices that happen within our own head, what we tell ourselves, do I want to hit the snooze button? Do I really have to do that? Maybe I can put it off till tomorrow. The voices in our head are our biggest barriers. And I think you nailed it when you said waiting till tomorrow, waiting till the next day, and even really negotiating with ourselves is what happens, isn't it? And when we negotiate with ourselves, we're only setting ourselves up for failure. What are your thoughts about that? What do you guys think about that?
Johnny?
Oh, man. Oh, my God. You are that's so on the money. Me personally, when I even entertain one of those voices, I'm a step behind. If I'm on point, those voices I got a socket in their mouth because I'm not thinking. And as soon as I stop to think and I start responding to one of those voices, now that son of a bitch has got a hold of me. So I'm a happier person. I'm a more productive person. I'm even a more loving person when I don't listen to that shit because I feel like I'm all me. I'm not being taken off track, which means I'm feeling more confident. I'm feeling my self-esteem is higher. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better businessman. I'm better across the board when I don't listen to that shit.
I got a question for you from Dr. MC. When you do your endurance races, and I guess this is going to be a very obvious cliche question. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. You still struggle with that mental voice in your head, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you a trick that I do. So one thing, there's called the now habit, which is phenomenal. And so whatever pops up in my head, if I'm facing a decision where it's like, should I do this now or later, you do it now. So you don't even have to think about it. And normally, whichever answer is easier for you in your head, do the other one, because that's probably what's going to lead to more results. But the Now Habit is a great book for anybody that wants to pick it up. I just summarized it in 2 sentences, but it's an amazing philosophy. Just fucking get it done now. And
yeah. Marty, what about you? How do you use mental strategies? Because I know, Marty, we talked many times in the past, but is there a go-to strategy you use that when you're looking to not do something?
Yeah, when it comes to this specifically, when I give myself the option to do it tomorrow or do it another day, it's probably not going to get done on time. But when I say do it now, just like Rich was talking about, I'm way more productive. So look at working out, for instance. The people that are successful with me are the people who make the decision and sign up as soon as they message me. But the ones who message me, then they hit me back a month later, they still don't sign up, they hit me up 2-3 months later, they don't end up hitting their goals. So the Now Habit,
the Now Habit,
it's super true, percent true.
That Now Habit, Rich, and I often do it with my bike or my treadmill. I often don't know what I'm going to do. I get on it and I just do it, because I find that if I think about it too much, I end up not doing what I actually want to do. So yesterday I knew, for example, I knew I had a big run. I didn't pick anything in advance. I just knew I had to get a run. I got on the treadmill, opened up my app and said, okay, I'm doing this one right here. And then I just started. So to your point, Rich, it was like, now I had to do this right now. And when I overthink it, I tend to talk myself, Dr. MC. When I overthink it, I talk myself out of making the decision.
I was going to add, my bad. Go ahead.
We're so good at talking ourselves out of things, aren't we? So when we make things a habit, like I never talk myself out of brushing my teeth. That is just a thing that I never talk myself out of doing. And so when you make something a habit, you're way less likely to talk yourself out of something. Like Marty was saying, the people that sign up are probably committed and are probably making that a habit, and therefore they don't forego their actual process to get to their goals.
So here's something I want to throw on the table. So there's often belief, Dr. MC, that mental resilience means shutting down your emotions or just toughing it out. Like old adage, tough it out, no matter what. I know you've got a different perspective on that. How do you view the relationship, Dr. MC, between a human being vulnerable and their resilience?
So I'm going to say something that might be unpopular amongst your viewership if it is all men, but I'm going to say that feeling your feelings is actually a really important part of being resilient. Like, you can feel your feelings, you can feel the anger, you can feel whatever, and then still do the thing that you want to do. When I see people shutting down, when I see people not feeling their feelings, they're just denying who they are, they're denying what they're experiencing, and then they're lying to themselves. When you lie to yourself, again, you're lying. You're creating that distrust between you, and that's never a good thing. I would say that the tough it out, sometimes you do have to push the feeling aside for a minute so that you can do the hard thing, but you can do both. You can feel the feeling and do the hard thing at the same time. Lying to yourself, though, about those feelings, that's just creating distrust amongst yourself, like within yourself, which is, I've never found that to be effective in any single thing that ever. Thoughts about that?
Yeah.
No, I just got to jump real quick. And when I was rambling on before about the voices in my head, if I actually am if those voices take me out of my groove and I tell myself, oh, I'll do it later, oh, this, oh, that, it's me breaking the word to myself, which literally breaks down my self-confidence, my self-esteem, which then takes away from all areas of my life, including just being a better husband or a better father. So that relationship with yourself is everything. I love that.
It's interesting to hear your comments, MC, because what we've done on this show is we've really leaned into perhaps what you might not be aware of, which is this idea of feelings, this idea of vulnerability, very much creating an environment for a safe space for men who perhaps are looking for a space to share their feelings, perhaps are looking for a space to be vulnerable, perhaps looking for a conversation like we are having here right now, going, no, tell me how you're feeling. Like, what's holding you back? Right. So that's the kind of environment we're here. Really, we daily constructing your mornings in the lab, is inviting men to the show that want to be in touch with what's going on inside, because I believe, Marty believes, Johnny believes, and I know even Richie believes that if you're going to perform at your best out on the hockey rink or out on the field or out up on the stage, you got to be strong up here and you got to be strong here. So we're big fans of that. And that's the principles we have here in the lab here. And really believing in that powerful mind shift that vulnerability is the superpower for us human beings.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Vulnerability. We're social creatures, and we connect through, that's the thing that connects us the most. And when we're social creatures and when we connect emotionally, we not only connect with others way more, but we connect with ourselves way more. The relationship with ourselves, like John was saying, is much stronger. And we start trusting ourselves more when we allow ourselves to feel, when men, and especially men who have been told over and over, and it's like over and over again, just be tough it out, do the thing, suck it up, big boys don't cry. Like at a very young age, men are told that their emotions are not okay. Big boys don't cry. Go to your room if you're crying, which means we cannot tolerate your emotions. So men learn very early on that emotions are not okay. And when men are largely socialized like that, they start learning that, okay, I have to build up walls. I have to pretend like I'm strong all the time. But the thing about human beings is that we're not strong all of the time. Sometimes we are sad, and sometimes we are angry, and sometimes we are unsure. And the more that we can understand that, propriocept that, understand our own emotions, the more trust that we have within ourselves, the more we love ourselves, and the more that we then give ourselves what we need in this life.
Dr. MC, before we pivot to the C Marty Fit Tip and get into our deep dive and continue this conversation, have you noticed in your time in practicing the shift with men around accepting vulnerability and feelings? I don't know how many years you've been practicing, but have you noticed a shift where maybe men you were talking to 5 or 10 years ago weren't comfortable having those conversations, where now I'm thinking when you're working with some of your younger, the gentlemen you're talking to today were probably raised with this idea, speaking about your feelings. Can you talk about that for a quick moment, Dr. MC?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So I work with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I also work with their farm team, the AHL team, the Toronto Marlies, and their prospects. And I've been working there for 5-6 years. I've been working with the organization for 5-6 years. And the older guys are like, who is this chick? Like, why do we need her? We don't need anything. But then in secret, they would contact me, like outside of the rink, they would contact me. But in front of their peers, they'd be like, oh, who is this chick? And then now what I'm seeing is like the younger guys who are just moving into the organization, moving into the Leafs, they're really open, like in front of their colleagues, in front of their peers. Hey, Dr. MC, do you have 5 minutes and 10 minute, whatever? Can I talk to you for a bit? And the prospects, the kids that are coming up, they just expect it. They expect somebody like me is going to be there because they grew up with it. So I'm absolutely seeing a shift, and I love the shift that's happening.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's awesome. All right, we're going to take a quick 90-second break here. We're going to get a segment called the C Marty Fit Tip. Marty's got some fitness advice for you guys. And then we're going to come back to keep the conversation going, guys, about how to unlock your full potential. Marty, you're up, brother.
Let's get it. All right. We're going to talk about unlocking your full potential in the gym. All right. So you got to start with owning the process one step at a time. So I got a few tips for you. All right. The first one, consistency over intensity. Me and John talk about this all the time, right? Focus on showing up regularly, right? Get to the gym, all right? It's best you get in there four to 5 times a week, right? And opposed to, I haven't been in 2 weeks, but I'm going to go extra hard today. Now you're too sore to go tomorrow. You're too sore to do Wednesday, too sore to do Thursday, Friday, right? So even if you get in there and go lower intensity consistently, that's going to benefit you over the long run, opposed to just going in there, going hard every once in a while. Build small wins. That's number 2. All right. Small are big wins. We talk about that as well, right? So your small win could be what? Lifting more weight, running your mile faster, getting to the gym an extra day, completing an exercise you were always scared to do. The small wins are going to help build your confidence. That's going to help you mentally. That small progress is going to compound over time. And then another one we talk about all the time, rest is power. You got to prioritize recovery, right? Your muscles grow when you rest. If you're not resting, you're not going to change. The fat isn't going to burn off of your body. The muscle isn't going to build, all right? So your potential lies in the balance of effort and recovery. So you got to go hard in the gym and then get that recovery. And recovery is also stretching, things like that, all right? So keep showing up, keep pushing. That's how you're going to get the results. That's the fitness tip for today.
Tip of the day, every day, 8:30 Eastern time. C Marty Fit, Christopher Martin, your fitness advice to give you guys something to move through the day. Dr. MC Bork, Richie Rich Ingram, John Anderson, myself, producer Flynn, and producer Jimmy on the buttons over there. Thanks for sticking around with us. We're going to get into the deep dive topic. We're talking about how to unlock your full potential. And Dr. MC, you talked about this idea of brushing our teeth in the mornings. I know John, myself, Marty, Rich, we're big habit stackers, stack habits to unlock success. Yet, it's so difficult for many of us humans to create continuous, relentless habits. It's just for some reason we all can get up and brush our teeth, but yet it's so difficult for all of us to go and eat the right foods all the time, or so difficult to go for a walk all the time, or so difficult to create these positive, powerful habits that lead to growth, resilience, and fulfillment. Dr. MC, Let's talk about how these daily actions can take you from feeling stuck. Somebody laying right now, they're sitting there in their bed, they're getting their day started, they're listening to our show, they're hearing what you're saying, Johnny's saying, they're wondering what the hell they're going to do. Let's give somebody to hang on right now to give them a reason to get moving and start a new habit. Dr. MC.
I would say it's not up to me. It's up to them, number one. So if it's not important to them, they're not going to do it. Behavior change happens when the delta between where you are, meaning the difference between where you are and where you want to be, creates such an uncomfortable feeling. That is when behavior change really happens. Or there's an external pressure and therefore there's a motivating factor. So internally, behavior change happens when I become really uncomfortable with the difference of where I am versus where I want to be. As an example, like if your pants start not fitting, that could be a really good reason to start the behavior change, because I want my pants to fit, but they don't. Therefore, I'm going to start changing my behavior. Or there's like an external pressure that comes in and says, oh, there's this wedding that I want to look really good for. So therefore, I'm going to start changing my behavior. When you start thinking about how to create that intrinsic motivation, that internal motivation, I always get people to look at their values, like what they actually value. So if, as an example, if they value, we break it down. What does health mean to them? Does health mean sleeping 8 hours a day? Does it mean working out? Does it mean meditating? What does health look like for them? Getting really clear on what health looks like for them, and then using that value to guide behavior change, to motivate behavior change. Because if there's not a value to them, they're not going to do it. They're not going to change.
Dr. MC, Marty and John have clients coming to them often saying, I got to go in a month. I'm going to Vegas in 3 weeks, or I got a wedding in a month and I'm looking to lose 30 pounds. There always seems to be these short-term trigger moments, yet they're maybe not value driven. How do we get somebody to overlook the fact, as Marty always says, no, actually, honey, you're not coming to me to lose weight for your vacation in 3 weeks. What you really want to do is change your mindset for the rest of your life. What you're saying, Dr. MC, is that human being, when they go to John or Marty, that they just haven't registered the importance of what they're trying to achieve just yet? Like right now, they're looking at their wedding. They're not looking at their life.
I think the value that they're going for is this external vanity.
Yes.
And external vanity isn't as motivating, perhaps long-term. It could be to some people, and I'm not judging that, but it may not be as motivating long-term as perhaps a value of health or being strong or being able to do the things in their life without getting injured. Oh, I'm curious, when Marty and John have these clients, do they see long-term changes, or are they more kind of short-term acute changes because of the motivating factors aren't super strong?
So Marty, I'm looking at you quickly, Marty. I'm thinking a client comes to you, one of your female clients, they come and they say, I want to lose a bunch of weight so I can fit into my dress. And then they go and achieve their goal. And then they come back to you a week or 2 weeks later and you see them somewhere and they've gone back to where they started. Am I wrong?
It happens often. Yeah. But the ones who stick around are the ones who, hey, I want to play with my grandkids, or I want to be able to play with my kids. Those are the ones who stick around. But the ones that are vacation driven and wedding driven and they want to stun on their girlfriends that was talking trash about them or something like that, they usually don't last long. Just being honest.
I guess in many ways, that's good business with Johnny though, right? Because you always have clients then, because everybody's always chasing the new wedding dress size or the new body they want to have. Like it's like a cycle in many ways.
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
I come from the flip side. When someone says, they come to me and say, hey, I'm getting ready for a cruise, I'll ask them, hey, is that the first checkpoint in the new direction of your life? Because if that's the goal, you're going to have to go find somebody else. I work with people that want to change the direction of life, change the way they live, change their lifestyle so they can have a better life in the big picture. So if the cruise is just the first checkpoint, we're good. But if that's the goal, I'm giving you that.
Yeah. Hey, Richie, as you've been going through your endurance journey and perhaps working with somebody like Dr. MC, when you look at a massive journey, hundreds of miles, I'm assuming you look at that and you break it down into these micro habits that you put into play daily so that when you get to the event, those habits just turn into actions. Am I correct with that assumption?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's wild how natural that becomes, right? So I'm a huge fan of blocking because blocking allows you to do everything. And so if you were to look at my schedule, I have a sub calendar set up off my main, and I have a blocking calendar, which I don't really use that much anymore because I know exactly what's going to happen. But that way, everything requires its own focus. Everything has its own goal. So at 8:30 to 10:30, I'm working on a specific thing with a specific target. And what ends up happening is, so let's take this 240-mile run. I'm only focused on aid station to aid station. So the big thing is 240 miles, but one aid station to another is just 17 miles. So I'm literally restarting my watch to say, okay, I'm going from this point to this point. Here's my goal from here to here. And so when you start working in that manner, you do everything like that. It becomes natural. So you're hitting all these micro blocks that come to the main picture. And it just becomes a habit. It is a loop how your brain works.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. MC, somebody who's starting out with habit stacking, again, we talk about it all the time, John, Marty, myself, but a different voice coming from you. And I said to you earlier, I asked you the question, how somebody can start it, how somebody can get started. And you're like, somebody has to find out what's important to them, finding their values. But expand upon that. Okay, I know what's important to me, but I still can't get started, Dr. MC. Is the answer, Lynn Keith, you haven't found what's important to you yet?
Maybe they haven't found what's important to you, but I think it's really important to really get super clear on what does that look like. As an example, if your value is creativity, what does creativity look like to you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What does your life look like when you are living creatively? Or if your value is achievement, what does achievement look like to you daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? And then understanding where you are versus where you want to be and getting very clear, Rich said, on the steps that you need to take. Because the outcome, you can't just focus on the outcome. You have to focus on the process. So the process are the things that you do to get to the outcome that you want. So the process, just like these hockey guys, they're really focusing on the process of doing the thing. They don't focus on the Stanley Cup. We can talk about the team that I work with. And Keith, your Jets are doing great this season, by the way. But really the process, the things that will get them to the outcome that they want. So that's when somebody's starting a habit. What are the things, the practical things that you can do that will get you one step closer, 2 steps closer, 3 steps closer to where you want to be? And doing that repetitively over and over again so that it becomes, like you called it, a habit versus something that you have to think about, you negotiate yourself out doing, but it's just, rather than doing that, you just make it a habit.
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, Richie, AJ's Ellen in the green room, and Dr. MC Bork hanging out with us talking how to unlock your full potential. Dr. MC, I know we had you tuned now. I'm just wondering, can you stick around for the next 13 minutes to the top of the hour? Awesome. Because I want to go to the lifestyle tip, and I'm calling an audible. Yep, true story. Calling an audible. In football terms, we're calling an audible. We're going to come back over to lifestyle tip. We're talking how to unlock your full potential. And AJ, I know we were talking mental performance, but gentlemen, I want to talk mental performance in the bedroom because I think there's probably conversations that happen in the bedroom that we don't have anywhere else. We're going to have it on the show here this morning because I think there's some gentlemen that get into the bedroom and struggle with mental performance and probably going, how do I unlock my full potential in the bedroom with my partner? So let's come back with, let's go to the John Anderson lifestyle tip. Let's come back and have a conversation with our audience, helping our men maybe get into the bedroom and perform and unlock some full potential. Maybe they're struggling. How does that sound, Dr. MC?
I'm here for it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's do this. Let's go over here. We're going to bring up this sound effect. No, not that one. We're going to bring up this one, Johnny. Yeah, that's the one, Anderson.
Let's go.
Right,
come on, man.
Anderson, a lifestyle tip coming up.
Oh, man.
We're going to unlock your full potential in the bedroom, gentlemen, with myself and MC and everybody else. Johnny, you're up, pal.
Here we go. Lifestyle tip for the day. You're not overweight because of junk food. You're overweight because you made the choice to eat it. You're not out of breath at the top of the steps because of the steps. You're out of breath at the top of the steps because you made the choice not to exercise. You got to take accountability for your actions. It's that simple. Make better choices. Me personally, in my early 20s, when I got a grip on taking accountability for everything, the good and the bad, my life completely changed. And I'm telling all of you guys right now, if you start taking accountability, yours will too. make better choices because your future self will think.
Choices. You're accountable to your choices. It's true. Yeah, roll over, get out of bed, and get rolling. Hey, we're talking how to unlock your full potential. Mornings Alive with Keith, John, producer Christina, C Marty Fit, Rich Ingram, Dr. MC, and of course, AJ Zillin, the mind fuel, the mental dude here this morning. And hey, we are here to talk about how to unlock your full potential. We've been talking for the last half hour with Dr. MC Bork, and I brought AJ in as well. We're talking mind fuel. And guys, I want to get into the conversation for the rest of the next 10, 11 minutes here about mental performance, how to unlock your full potential in the bedroom. And gents, this is a show where we have conversations that nobody else is having. Now, you guys are all having conversations about soft stuff over there. We're having conversations about hard things over here. Every pun intended. Yeah, true story. So, yeah, exactly. Johnny, let's get into it. Marty, AJ, let's get into it. We all want to get into the bedroom. We all want to have some fun with our loved one, our partner, our spouse, whatever that partner is. And it goes to, it's time to perform. We can't perform. Our mind is stuck. Nothing to do with the equipment. It's all starting up in our mind. And I'm gonna start the conversation. All right. I was there. Yep. True story. Years ago as a young man, I couldn't figure it out. My mind messed me up. My mind just did this to me. I had to take a lot of time to get my mind in action so I could perform like this. True story. So I'm going to offer it up there. AJ, Dr. MC, let's talk about how to unlock your full potential in the bedroom for our men that can't figure out why the mind is connected to their lower half of their regions and things aren't working. Where do we want to start? Dr. MC.
I'm just going to say, number one, if you're over the age of 30 and you are having those difficulties, if you cannot get it up, go see your doctor because it might be atherosclerotic disease. So there are things that they can do about that. So I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Like literally just go see your doctor. If you're above the age, even if you're under the age of 30, just go see your doctor. And then I would say mindfulness. If it's actually your mind, if you've gone to your doctor, ruled out medical causes for erectile dysfunction, mind is actually a really interesting skill and tool when you're doing anything specifically in the bedroom, because oftentimes when you are unable to perform and it's not a medical cause, when you're unable to have an erect penis, it's because you're in your head and you're thinking too much, you're thinking too much, and you're not in your body. So when you're not in your body, it becomes very difficult to be present and enjoy the moment. And so when you're present, when you tuned into all of your senses, your visual, your taste, your olfactory, your sensation, and your breathing, mindfulness and being present is a lot easier. And the mental performance, the mental side of things in the bedroom becomes a lot easier. I'd love to hear what AJ has to say about that. I am not an expert. I'm an expert in mental performance, sure, but not an expert in mental performance in the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to echo Dr. MC's comments there. It is mindfulness, right? It's still, if we're looking at the context of performing, when we perform, we want to live exclusively in that moment and be fully present in that moment. When we're talking about anxiety, it's because we're worried about stuff that's going to happen in the future. It's what they call performance anxiety. We're playing all these scenarios in our mind and in our head, just being like, oh, am I going to be good? Is she or he going to think that I'm good enough? Am I going to be able to satisfy my partner? Oh, going to have all these thoughts about it. And we start worrying about it. None of that stuff has even happened yet, right? That's us worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened. So that ability to be mindful and just stay present, and like Dr. MC said, a lot of that can happen in grounding techniques, like fully being aware of all our senses. And then a big part too just comes into that conversation, right? If we have a partner, just that open conversation. I know on the show you guys talk a lot about the idea of vulnerability. If you're feeling it, let your partner know. Just be like, hey, I so badly want to be amazing for you in the bedroom, because I feel like that would be this great physical manifestation of my feelings towards you if you thought I was really great in here with you or whatever. And it's really important to me. I'm nervous about it because I really want to make sure I perform for you. And then even having that conversation, as soon as we say that out loud or whatever, it just instantly drops a bunch of that pressure we put on ourselves. And then we could just go to having fun and enjoying the moment.
Johnny, I see you nodding over there, brother.
Yeah. Obviously, I can really only speak to my own personal experience. And this topic kind of fits into other areas in terms of when I came to that point where I just stopped caring about failure. I just realized I fail at everything, but I use that failure and I get better. And the same thing happened in the sack. I was so worried about all of the shit we're talking about. And the voices inside my head were killing me. I was worried about shit that a lot of it was never even happened or wasn't going to happen. And I just got fed up with the fact. And as I just stopped worrying about failure, it translated right into the sack. And it was that was a game changer for me. It was like, failure's part of life. It might happen, but it's okay. Next thing, as you went from here, as you said, Keith, went from here to here. And ever since then, I've been good.
You know what it was for me, Dr. MC and AJ? I've talked about this privately, and I'm offering this up because in order for us to build the audience that we want to build, I recognize that folks like myself and Marty and Johnny got to put ourselves out there. And I'm happy to do that. AJ, you and I have talked about this, getting to know each other. I use the elastic band technique. Dr. MC, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but it's that whole idea of, so I was taught during my habitual changes that when my mind was going all squirrely, I had an elastic band on my wrist. And every time my mind was going, I would just snap my elastic band and it would bring me back to the moment. Right. So I found myself in my younger days in the bedroom with my partner, just fucking snapping my elastic band on my wrist because I was like, I had to bring myself into the moment. But that taught me, you guys, that not only in the bedroom, it taught me that elastic band trick. I've used it many times throughout my life when my mind has been going over there and I got to bring myself into the present moment. So nation, if I can offer you some advice right now, put an elastic band on your wrist. And if you're struggling because your mind is getting all over the place, use it to snap yourself back into the moment. Dr. MC, I saw you nodding there. Did you relate to my habit changing procedures?
We use that. We use the elastic band technique when people are, for two reasons. If they're experiencing a lot of emotional pain and they can't seem to fight their emotional pain, they then cause themselves physical pain and it brings them back to the present moment. So we use that technique. It's a well-known technique. And I love that you use that to help all kinds of aspects of your life. I love that.
And gentlemen, I didn't put the elastic band around my penis.
Keith, when you said elastic band technique, I was like, oh, Jesus, he's talking about
I know, man. I
was going, oh my God. He's breaking out the serious vulnerability today. And I'm thinking about myself, he's snapping that thing. He's got more buzz than I do.
We're not talking about tying off things right now, Johnny. No, we're not winning the strippers on the show today. We're talking about the elastic band on my wrist.
I was so happy to hear you continue on and talk about your wrist. I was like, tell me he's not snapping his pecker, man. Jesus, he was really making some changes.
Looking at you and guys coming and talking to you about what's going on in their head and so forth. Let's continue talking about this elastic band technique. AJ, have you talked about it with some of your clients and so forth about using that elastic band to bring you back into the present moment?
Yes, we call them interrupters. So it can be an elastic band technique. It can be something else. Sometimes we'll use a countdown method where you'll just be 4, 3, 2, 1. And then follow that up with maybe a piece of positive self-talk or something like that. But the idea is that it only takes a short, couple seconds to interrupt that negative loop, whatever you're stuck in. We often think that it's maybe got to be this big, elaborate, complicated set of tools that we use to get us out of that loop. All we need is like 1 or 2 seconds of an interruption in that negative thought loop to break us out of it. So yeah, the elastic band snapping on the wrist again, that's mindfulness. It brings us into the present moment. If we have something that if we're aware of, we're caught in that loop, and then we have something that we mentally go through in our mind. Like I said, we use that countdown method a lot, where it could be like 4, 3, 2, 1, I got this, or 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm here, or whatever it is that you tell to cue yourself to, hey, let's get in touch with what's happening right now and not worried about the past or the future. But there's a whole series of it that you can use, and it breaks that loop and gets us back into the present.
You know what I find fascinating about this, Dr. MC, AJ, is that it's something so basic for all of us as human beings. We all have sex. We all have organs like we all have, yet we all struggle to talk about this such important topic. And it's actually quite disappointing to me in many ways. Because, MC, you commented a few moments ago where you have some of the old dudes that are like, oh, I don't want to talk to MC. You got the young guys like, yeah, I want to talk to you. And it's disappointing to me that we have to create this big thing that we're talking about male performance in the bedroom when it shouldn't be a big thing. Do you know what I mean, Dr. MC?
I agree. And it's not a big thing when you talk about it to your partner. Let's normalize talking to partners about this. It is not a big thing at all. Having been on the receiving end of that conversation, it's, oh, great. This is not a thing. I'm sorry that for some reason you kept this from me for so long. You know what I mean? So it's not a big thing. It might be a big thing talking about it on a radio show, sure.
No, but hold on, saying that there was a female, because there's gentlemen right now that are thinking that their partner is not going to receive them very well. AJ said
oh
that.
My God, no. It is just talk to your partner. We're like, it's talk to your partner. It is not a big deal. We want to be there for you.
There you go.
I also find it too, like I'm a big one on when I'm just getting to know somebody, like, hey, let's talk about what you like. Because when I understand what they like, it gives me a target, helps me understand how to navigate because I want to please her. So if I have a little bit of a roadmap, it takes pressure off. It's just that might be something that would be helpful to people as well is, hey, just have this open conversation. And maybe that conversational, you're going to feel a little tickle in your shorts and not have to actually talk about the fact that you might be snapping your wrist all night with the rubber band because you got a roadmap to please her.
Just snapping away. Hey, we got a band in the bedroom here. We all got our fucking rubber bands on our wrists. Dr. MC Rich. Hey, let's bring up producer Christina Flynn on the stage here. We're going to get to the brand buy here in a quick minute. But producer Flynn, you're sitting there on the green room listening to the conversation. Would love to hear your point of view from a lesbian woman who's listening to this conversation, performance in the bedroom, and men and worrying about getting an erection and penile dysfunctions and so forth. What are you hearing from this conversation, producer Flynn?
I'm hearing conversations that need to be happening more frequently. I'm married to a woman. I've dated men before. I always respected when men came to me and said, yo, I'm struggling with this. I think the more we can communicate with one another, the more we're opening up new pathways for these conversations to continue. I hope that men in our audience, this isn't the only place that they can hear about these things, but the reality is that often that is the case. So yeah, if you're not comfortable taking it to your partner, of course, hopefully we can have a space here for you, but work on perhaps exploring the fact, why am I not comfortable? What is that actually about? Am I worried about judgment? Am I worried about her not loving me or him not loving me anymore? Spend some time thinking about that and reflecting on it.
Yeah, what an exceptional conversation, team. I got a comment from my partner, my love, here in the comments here. Guys, Lauren's coming in saying perhaps removing the word performing. Isn't that true, right? Performing would be helpful because performing implies pressure. Hey, gentlemen, pressure's off for Uncle Billis here today. But I appreciate that. And then, of course, we got Arm coming in with, let's look at Arm's comments here. Yes, agreed. Communicating is a big key. How are we supposed to know if not told? We can read body language, yes, but would love to know, period. We can read toes curled, but is it pleasure or pain? That's really good, Arm. So that's a great comment here. Hey, listen, we are just hanging out. We're getting towards the end of the segment here. I want to quickly wrap it up here. AJ, some closing words from you before we say goodbye to Dr. MC and yourself. AJ, some final comments from you, brother.
Yeah, I've talked about this previously before, but again, if there's ever an opportunity to remove assumptions, we should take it. So a lot of that pressure that we're going to put on ourselves in the bedroom, we're assuming in our own mind, we've made up this whole scenario where we have to perform or do a certain way or this or that. We open that line of communication with our partner, and it's usually quite the opposite, right? I know for myself, in my relationship, if I have this assumption, like I have to be able to last all night and go for hours and stuff, Melissa would look at me like, go for hours. What are you talking about? I have no interest in that. You know what I mean? Sometimes we make an assumption that we should do this stuff. And when we actually communicate and talk about it, we realize that, oh, it's really quite the opposite. I created this whole scenario in my mind, what I should do. So communicate, remove the assumptions, and enjoy yourself in there.
Great advice, AJ. Great conversation. Hanging out with us today. Hey, listen, AJ joins us every Tuesday and Thursday for Mind Fuel. Advice to get out of your mind and help you perform better. Dr. MC, some closing comments from you as well before we say goodbye.
It's really nice to be here. And also just, I'm loving the conversation that you're having. I love that men are talking about their feelings and difficult things. And if, you know what, all the men are craving this. So if you have buddies, like you can do this with your buddies as well.
Yes.
This is a thing that men are craving.
Yes. And Dr. MC, how can Business Athlete Nation find you? How can they connect with you? How can folks learn more about you and all the great work that you do? Dr. MC Bork.
I have my website, drdempseyb.com, and you can send me a message through that if you would like.
Awesome.
Thanks,
would you come back and hang out with us again? I love your point of view and your perspective. And Richie was right, man. She's going to drop bombs nonstop. Would you come back and hang out again with us?
My God, Rich, you're so nice. Of course I will. Yes.
Awesome. When the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup or don't win the Stanley Cup. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't do it when they win.
Yeah, exactly.
When they win this year. Absolutely.
That's right. All right. Dr. MC Bork is on her way back to British Columbia.
Thanks, y'all.
AJ Zaglin is back to his gig.
Thanks, MC.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
We got producer Flynn coming up with the brand bite, and then we're going to come back and we're going to learn about what Richie's been up to. He did a 240-mile thing, except it wasn't 200 miles. No big deal. No big deal at all. All right, Flynn, you're up, and then we'll come back.
Do it.
Do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Your inner voice. to shut the fuck up. Here's something that your brain won't tell you. You're capable. You're on the right path. You know exactly what you're doing. But let's be real. That inner voice can be really nasty. I call mine Regina George because she's a bitch with attitude and she's always tearing me down. The truth is your brain doesn't always have your best interests in mind. It serves its own agenda, which is keeping you safe and avoiding risk. But sometimes those things are not aligned with reality. The kicker is that we've already talked about it today. Everyone's got this voice, but for some people, it's louder than others. Even the people that you admire have this voice. It tells them to quit, tells them that they can't, it tells them that they're not enough. The difference, though, is that they've learned how to ignore it. Just yesterday, Regina was acting up real hard. What the fuck are you even doing? What if this never works? You're a founder that can't sell. What is going on? She was mean and she was ready to fight. So here's what I did. I told her to shut the fuck up. I said, I know you're here with love, but you're not needed here anymore. So if your Regina is acting up and doing the same, tell her to shut the fuck up and then keep pressing forward. You've got a fire plan and still a couple months to go in 2024. You've set yourself up. Don't let your Regina distract you, because if you're waiting for your brain to push you forward, you're going to be waiting forever. Yes, it is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into account, you'll be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
Oh, the brand bite. Christina Flynn coming to you every day here, dropping some bombs.
That was a good one. That was real good. I like that one.
Thanks.
That resonated with me. Bam. Let's go.
All right.
Tell Regina to chill out.
Tell Regina to chill the fuck out.
And Cosmic has a little different point of view. Cosmic, where are you? Cosmic, I'm going to tell you something, pal. I love your point of view. And I'll tell you why. Because that's what we invite here in the lab, different points of views, right? So you may not agree with what Regina was saying, which is awesome. I still welcome your point of view. So please bring those comments to the floor. And Arm, shut the fuck up, Regina George. Yeah, hey, it's Morning Lou Reloaded. Yep, the bagpipes are up. And we got Richie Rich Ingram. He's going to tell us a little bit about an adventure he was on over the last couple of weeks. Him and I were talking over the last couple of days over, and he's been dropping some nuggets. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So we're going to learn about that. Then we're going to go to the in the gym segment. We're going to talk about lower body workouts with John and Marty, and Rich is going to join that conversation as well. And then we're going to community corner, creator spotlight, and then of course wrap up with some business and branding. What a great chat we had with Dr. MC. Man, we talked about how to unlock your full potential. We moved into the bedroom, gentlemen. So if you missed the last 15 minutes of the first hour, we talked about how to perhaps look at performing. No, don't use the word perform. How to perhaps spend more intimate time with your partner and get out of your brain.
It's a good audible, brother. Good audible.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was a good vulnerable chat here.
Good job, Keith.
Thanks, brother.
Great job.
Thank you. Yay! Uncle Keith did a solid here for all of us here. But let's go to Richie Rich. We got Rich here joining us here today. We got Rich joining us once a week. We got to get him around a little more, I think. But Richie, you did something. A buddy of yours who I know we're going to have on the show in a couple weeks. But Rich, I'm not going to set it up, man. What the hell did you guys do?
Man, so it was my buddy that did it, right? I was just there to assist, but it was a 2-mile run out in the Moab desert. And yeah, so it's a multi-day event. And I did about 80 miles with him, so I was a pacer. So I did 2 stints. I did 1 stint of 50 and then another stint of 30. And man, and look, going into this thing, because I signed up, I'm scheduled to do a 200-miler in Lake Tahoe next year. And I was like, I'm drawn to the 100, not the 200, because you run a lot more of a 100-mile run.
Hold on, Richie. When are you doing that? When are you doing that Tahoe race? I'm gonna see if I can get up to my cabin in Tahoe so I can check this thing out. When is it? What month?
Okay, so it's June, but I'm deferring to 2026 because I actually want to somewhat compete.
I don't give a damn. I'll still have it in 2026. I want to be there when you do this, man. That's awesome,
man,
brother.
dude. I'm telling you, look, this thing is just. It was one of the best, even though I wasn't a racer, I was a pacer. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And it brought back the military, right? Because you don't know when your guy's going to come in. And so for Thomas, let's say, I think he did it in under 90 hours. Like he was a top 20 finisher. I think he ended up getting 17th. But man, you in this particular race, at one point you're running in the desert. A lot of people do not finish because they ran out of water in the desert. No shade, and you're you're running 17 miles in that particular stint. But then towards the end of the race, you're above 10,000 feet of elevation. So it's just a monster. But like these guys, you literally normally for the first night, you don't sleep. Okay. So the first night, you don't sleep.
I was going to say, because I'm wondering, so everybody else got to be one or two. There's got to be some sleep in this. Is it you go to sleep a little bit? Holy shit.
Yes. So it works differently for different people, right? And in your training, if you've never done an overnight run, like you got to do that just to know, are you going to have a witching hour, which is normally like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, right? But most people will stay awake. They'll run through the night. And then the second night, depending on where they come in at the aid station, because that's another thing. You have to strategically plan this. When are you going to come into an aid station? Because ideally, you want to try and sleep when you would be asleep in a regular circadian rhythm. And so the second night, you'll sleep from – a lot of people sleep 2 to 3 hours, right? And so you sleep 2 to 3 hours. And then depending on the next night, how many days the event is, you'll sleep the next night too. But also when you're running, for example, Thomas and I were running and he just turned around and he was like, dude, I need to take a nap. And literally there's these huge fucking rocks and he just laid flat down on them. He was like, all right, man, I'm going to take a nap for 15 minutes. I set my alarm and it started going off. He was like, all right, let's fucking go. And so you take a little you'd be amazed at even 2 hours. Right? 3 hours, what that would do to you. Because I guarantee you, after you run 150 miles, 3 hours of fucking sleep, you've never slept so deep in your life, right? Like you're getting a fucking reset. And so there was a lot of that. But man, when we were in the desert, for me, I didn't have any gaiters, which like covers up your shoes and everything. And so I had a lot of sand getting in my shoes. And man, my toes were just scrunched up because I had so much sand in my shoes. I told my buddy, I was like, dude, my blisters are so bad. I don't know if I can do the second stint, but we had this amazing guy. We brought a medic with a nurse with us and just completely, I feel like, did surgery on my feet where I was able to show up for my buddy for that last 30. But dude, you talk about a mental piece. My buddy, and I don't want to take this story away from him too much, but there was a time where he had to run with his junk outside of his shorts. And you talk about how poor mentally.
What was the purpose? And clearly he's doing what he's got to do. Why was he having to pull his stuff out and run? Clearly he's doing whatever he's got to do. What was the reasoning?
Chafed so badly.
Oh, no shit. So he just pulled it out and it felt better outside the drawers than inside the drawers. Holy shit.
Just pulled it out and kept going. And I'll tell you, this dude's so tough. He was my college roommate and just a tough guy. But one time, all of a sudden he stops. And he just starts vomiting, standing up. And he turns around and he looks at me because, in the Army, we always say hua, or some people do. We always made fun of the word hua. He turns around after he's vomiting, he goes hua, and then he just vomits some more. And he's like, all right, let's go. And took off. Only stopped to puke and kept going. And look, these are some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet in the world because this is a lifestyle. It's trained for that. What MC was saying, it's all about the process. The product is just the cherry on top. Whether it works out or not, it's the process that really matters. And the amount of training that you have to do that, it is a fucking grind. It's a lifestyle.
You know what I find so fascinating about this? Hold on, Johnny and Marty. What I find fascinating about this is how selfless Richie's experience is. Because this isn't Richie's race. Richie was seeing this guy. So it's like, hey, John, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. I got this with Terry. Hey, would you mind running 80 miles with me and pace me? Oh, yeah, sure. Just think about this. So Rich is just selflessly just hang out with his buddy and go and help him achieve his big goals.
That's the point about it not being a product, right? There's no product for you at the end of that, Rich. You're just like, I'm in it for my boy, and I'm sure he's going to be there for me when I need it.
I love it.
Exactly. Like he'll probably end up pacing me at Tahoe for my 200 miler. And at the end of the day, I was telling my coach because another guy asked me to crew him, another one of my buddies. So he's doing it's called Last Man Standing. So this is coming up in about a week and a half, and it's where you have a 4-mile loop, and you have to do one loop every hour on the hour. And it's whoever the last fucking man's still going wins the race. And so he asked me, he was like, dude, I know I'm going to start getting tired. Can you be there for me to fill my bottles? And I was like, dude, I fucking got you. And I told my coach, I was like, hey, I picked up another crew. And I was like, for me, any fucking day around in the ultra environment around other ultra runners is a great fucking day. I don't have another race coming up until I have a PK coming up in January, and then I have, which is more like a B race. I have my next A race in April. Dude, I'm here, man. So if anybody listening needs a pacer, I might need you to pay my way. I've been spending a lot of money getting to places, but I'm there for you, man. I fucking love it.
That's unreal. That's unreal. Johnny, when I heard Richie talk about him running with his junk out, I couldn't help but think of you, because you have said so many times that you am willing to do something nobody else is willing to do. And to hear you comment on what Richie said, that's just normal for you, isn't it, John? Because you're like, no, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do.
I just was curious, what was the motivator? Clearly he did it because he needed to do. If he needed to do what he needed to do, what was the reason? But yeah, I was interested why, but it made a lot of sense. Here's the thing. Obviously, I'm not a runner like this, but I've been at the highest level of a few different venues. When it comes down to it, to get there and to exist there, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done and stay there. And you can't have limitations on yourself. You can't say, oh, I'm not going to do that. I won't do that. Like eating an egg in a shell, it doesn't even fucking enter the question of why. This is just part of this. It's not a big deal. And your mind is trained to just do. And when you get there, it's pretty amazing, because what you can do with that mindset in your life is it's unbelievable.
I like that, actually, because it relates very much to even our show today about how to be mindful and unlock your full potential. It really comes down to, in many ways, doing something that somebody is not comfortable doing.
Yeah, 100%.
So Rich, what was your buddy's name? Bobby, right?
Thomas,
yes. So I'm not sure how many other men on that journey ran with their nuts hanging out, but I'm suspecting not many, Rich.
But everybody had their own race, right? Going into this, whether it's 100 miles, maybe even a 50K, there are going to be things that pop up that are going to be uncomfortable. So, and I'll never forget, I was doing a 50-miler, and my knee, I was hopping this motherfucker. And a girl comes by and she's like, hey, Rich, how you doing? And I was like, man, my fucking knee. And she was like, just remember, nobody has a good race, or nobody has a perfect race. It's all in how we deal with it. And I took that as shut the fuck up to myself, right? Nobody is running a perfect race. So whether you got to pull your fucking dick out or you got to hop, you do what you got to do. Because John said, man, once you've done the process so many times, quitting never even enters your mind. If you have to do, not even possible. It is just moving forward is the only option. And I'm gonna tell you, one of the toughest things about running 200 miles is the sleep. So when you get to 200 miles, look, dude, you're in fucking zombie mode. So if you're not trained to continue, you're gonna start telling lies to yourself, because we all know lack of sleep, that's where shit starts to fuck with you. And you're not getting sleep. So you have to be prepared to go into that, to say, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to keep moving forward. And that's it.
And the thing is, I had mantras that I would tell myself. And you've heard me say them here. I would tell myself, I'm willing to do what everyone else won't do. And I believe that, and I'll do it. And I tell myself, look, you're going to have to break some fucking eggs to make an omelet. Meaning, yes, you're going to hurt yourself. Yes, this is not considered healthy, but yes, this was the choice I made. And fuck yes, I'm going to break some eggs. Question is, what are the eggs going to be? Is it another joint? Is it another muscle? You don't care. You made the choice. Fucking get it done.
I love both this show and the people that I meet and the stories that we're telling, because it's easy to read things or hear anecdotes of people. But then when Marty, we spend enough time with Johnny and you hear the things that he's had to achieve greatness, and it's like, had to eat the eggs. And then you talk to Rich, and Richie talks about the things that he does with Thomas, and you quickly recognize that, gentlemen, if you're tuning in right now, you got to find a way to do something that nobody else is going to do if you really want to achieve greatness. There's no rocket science beyond that, is there, Johnny or Richie? There is none. There's no rocket science.
And part of that is having the fucking nuts, having the tenacity, having whatever you want to call it, to fucking show up and never miss what you got to do. That's the baseline for the whole thing. That builds your confidence to know that when push comes to shove, you will literally break your back. I've done that. I've ruptured multiple discs in the middle of a deadlift to get a fucking point in a contest.
Jesus. All right. We are hanging out with Rich, Joe, Marty, producer Flynn, Richie Grit Store, man. We're going to keep coming back and learning. I'm fascinated by the whole endurance athlete mindset you guys do. Like, honest to God, like just this whole, I'll come pace you for 80 miles. All right, sure. Let's do that. Me and Flynn are going to get off stage. We're going to keep Richie, Marty, and Johnny up here. We're going to get to the in the gym segment. And I want to pivot to top exercises for growing strong and toned glutes and hamstrings. We talked about deep cheeks, joking at the top of the show here, but let's talk about some of the top exercises we could use John and Marty, digging into your experience, guys, but how to build that strong lower half. And then we're going to come back and wrap up with Community Corner and get into the business and branding segment. All right. So I'm going to put you guys up here. Let's talk lower strength training. Richie, why don't you hang out with the boys here, and we'll come back in 10 minutes to continue the show. All right, Jimmy, let's get me and Flynn off stage.
What a topic. I think first off, coming from what we just were talking about, me saying I've ruptured multiple discs in a lift to get a single point in the I think we should preface that we're not condoning that people have this behavior. This is just a fucking really extreme shit that Rich and I did in our journeys. There's so many ways to great results and better yourself without putting yourself in that harm's way. So obviously this segment, we're talking about kicking ass and taking names, but not hurting yourself. Let's be really square about that before we start off. What do you guys think?
And I'll add on to that. I think in my world, we have A, B, and C races, right? My goal is the A race. So if something pops up in a C race that could potentially be injurious, I'm calling it, because that's my goal. It's all about the A race. So if I got a little tweak, and that happened to me. I died a race before I ran the little 100. I got really sick, started vomiting, dehydrating, and I was like, look, this is not my goal. This is just, and so I think we have to be cognizant and smart about it.
And training especially, yes. And obviously we're talking about glutes here in this segment. And obviously a deadlift is going to fall right into working those glutes. And deadlift is one of those things done safely. You get so much forward progression in terms of what you want. But the flip side is, like when I mentioned that I popped some discs, it was deadlifting, but that wasn't my intention. And I didn't know that I did it. I just pushed through the pain. In training, that stuff never happened. So deadlifting is a massive help to work those glutes, but you've got to do it safely. And if you don't know how to do it safely, you've got to have somebody help you figure it out. And once you can do the movement safely, that's going to be a big part of building your glutes and your hamstrings. Marty, you want to jump on that?
Yeah, it's no shame in doing it with a light weight. I've had clients, male and female, where we had to start with just the bar. Yeah, master the form before you go up in weight. And then we always talk about squats, but I wanted to give something a little more complex. Lunges and step-ups are big for those hamstrings and glutes, right? And when you do those lunges and step-ups, you want to push through your heel, right? That's going to activate the glutes and the hamstrings. Don't put all the pressure on your toe, right? That's how you're going to put a lot of pressure on your knee. But yeah, those are big. And don't be afraid to add some weight to it, man. I'm doing step-ups today. I'm going to have at least 60, 70 pounds in both hands on the step-ups. Throw some weight on there. That's going to be good for the glutes. And since we were talking about the bedroom, you hit those step-ups and lunges, your girl ain't going to be complaining. Go ahead, Rich and John. I just want to throw that in there because that's part of the topic today. Go ahead, fellas.
Wrap it all together, baby. Wrap it all together.
Yes, sir.
On that thing of going light, I agree with that. I have clients that I say, look, you can only do the bar because they don't know what they're doing, but they still get sore using the bar doing a deadlift. Now, using myself as a perfect example, there was a couple weeks back, I was warming up doing some deads. I'm like, the shit's just not feeling right. And I was trying to get in good position. I was having a hard time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this nice and light. I'm going to do sets of 10 on the deadlift, which even if it's lighter weight, that's a ball buster. And then I went and did walking lunges, 15 per leg. So you can take two of these exercises, put them together, and now you're really getting it done. And the risk of hurting yourself is very minimal. So don't think that you got to put yourself in harm's way to work those muscles. Now, another thing too, we got to talk about, the glute is a massive muscle. So this glute can take a hell of a lot of work. So very rare you're going to overtrain your glutes. You'll overtrain your lower back. You'll overtrain your hamstrings long before that glute gets overtrained. So sometimes if you really want to build that butt, you can really do some isolation on the glutes, because like I said, the glutes are going to take more work than the muscles around it. And that's a kind of a concept that, if you understand, will help you build that muscle. Richie, you look like you had something to say, bro. Dive in there.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And again, to the audience, I'm coming from an endurance perspective, but the glutes are so important, even in running, right? Because my coach always says, this is how we build durability. And when you're talking about running these longer, for folks that are trying to get into ultra or even just starting out, you can start with light weights and do functional movements. So we talk about doing single leg stuff in the endurance world. That way we're focused on that one thing. And what it's going to do is it's going to remove imbalances. So as we start to add distance or start to add intensity into our endurance training, already having that base in the gym is going to put us a step above everyone else that's not doing anything in the gym. So it's a bilateral thing. Even in the endurance world, it's important to work.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Definitely.
Another thing I hear a lot is that people are like, God, I feel my hamstrings, I feel my lower back, but I don't feel the glute in whatever movement they're doing, which is common. Some people don't have a connection with the glute. And unfortunately, it seems like it always happens to the girls who want to build that muscle. And so the remedy that I have for that, and it works like a charm, basically whatever you're doing, whether it be a deadlift or a lunge or a step up, before you do that movement, literally just stand there and just clamp your butt cheeks down, squeeze your butt cheeks as hard as you can, get those things, they're going to heat up. I could squeeze my butt cheeks in about 30, 40 seconds. I get a cramp, right? Statically squeeze those cheeks. You can tell when they're starting to really tighten up, then start your exercise. Because you activated the contraction before you started, now the exercise you'll connect the dots between the exercise and the muscle. And that's the biggest issue, is that people don't understand, okay, I'm doing a step up, but I feel it all in my quad. Get that glute squeezed up nice and tight, fatigued, then start the step ups. You'll feel the glutes after you do that. That's a great technique.
I want to add this too. Sometimes you might not feel the muscle, but that doesn't mean it's not working, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think about a deadlift or a squat, that especially if you lifting some heavy weight, that's going to be big on our core. You might not necessarily feel your core, but your core is for sure working in those movements. But you're absolutely right, John. But at the same time, don't stress out if you don't necessarily feel the glute, because it's been thousands of times I didn't feel the glute on a hip thrust, a lunge, and they were sore the next day. Just focus on the form, doing the movement correctly, and worry about that other stuff later. But don't stress yourself out with it.
Hey, Marty and John, question for you guys here. People will often overlook that they have a bad back or a bad lower back and not relating it to the fact that it's actually starting in their hamstrings. Can we talk a little bit about that, Marty and John? Because I know I've talked to, especially you guys, some of Carter's buddies, like, I got a bad back. Yeah, but you got to stretch your hams, man. You got to stretch your lower body. You got to start lower. Talk about the power of stretching those hams and how it's affecting that lower posterior chain. Who wants to start?
Well, I want to dive. I agree with that. But here's the thing. Is that when people, generally speaking, when people have back where they say I got a bad back, they've veered away from it because they're afraid if they have a bad back and their back is weak. So when you have issues with your back, the number one thing you need to do is work that area, work it safely, bring the strength, the conditioning up. You can do it Superman. There's so many exercises you can do that will have zero risk. When I have clients that come to me with bad backs, first thing I have them do every morning, they're doing 3 to 5, 30 to 60 second Supermans. And literally in a month, they're like, holy shit, I stand up out of a chair. I don't feel that anymore. Well, that's because your back has created enough strength and endurance that it can hold it into place. The back it's designed to be in a certain place. And if the muscles are weak enough that it keeps getting out of that natural position where it's intended, you're going to feel a bunch of weird shit. Oh my God, I got a bad back. I better avoid this, while you're just making the problem worse.
Yeah, I agree with that, Marty.
Yeah, I was gonna say you always got to go to your mechanics, right? So what does your squat look like? What does your deadlift look like? And if you've been doing it with bad form for years and adding weight, a lot of people, you're doing 315, 405 with horrible mechanics, right? That's why your back hurts. And your lower back is a muscle as well. So it should be activated. So you got to be careful. And I know this is controversial, but you got to be careful when you're doing a squat when your spine is straight, or you're doing a deadlift and your spine isn't rounded and you don't have that neutral spine. So a lot of that is caused from the mechanics because you're not even working your lower back and making that stronger along with the other muscles. So I could talk about this all day. Me and Johnny could talk about this all day. So that's a lot of things. And then as far as the stretching, right, you got to stretch those. It's not just the hamstrings. It could be tight hips. It could be quads. Yeah.
It's and the whole posterior chain. The whole posterior chain is what puts pressure on, especially if the back is weak.
Exactly.
Everything else is tight. You're going to feel the weakest part of the link. That's what's going to give you that's what's going to stand out. Exactly. So you strengthen that back. As you're loosening your posterior chain, you're hitting it from both sides. And here's the thing. Your back, the way that we live, we don't move in ways that keeps our lower back really strong or conditioned. You have to do it. You sit in a chair all day. Your lower back is not getting the movement, the activity it needs to be a good, stable, strong back to carry you into a quality of life. You need to do that. And it doesn't take much. Like I said, if you got back issues, I'm telling you right now, you got back issues, try this. In a month, you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on here? This is amazing. Yeah. Every day when you get up, don't do it when you're cold. Get your coffee, take a dump, whatever you got to do on your stomach. Literally, Superman flies with his arms out straight. When you lay on your stomach, you're going to literally contract your glutes, contract it. You're going to turn so you're going to basically do this to yourself. You turn, you're up. All that's going to be on the ground is your pelvic, your upper thighs, and your lower abdomen, which is going to put strain on that lower back. You'll feel that lower back especially. Well, you do this 3 to 5 times a day, that lower back is going to get conditioned and strengthened. And you'll notice all of a sudden, God, that my back doesn't bother me when I sit down or when I stand up. Now, don't stop. It takes you 5 minutes a day. Do that shit for the rest of your life and keep those back problems at bay. Brush your teeth to keep your teeth. Yeah, do this to keep your back in check.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Superman's, and we're gonna drop some video on our Substack to show folks what the Superman is. But I'm a big fan of the Superman. Richie, comments from you, brother, before they close the segment up.
Yeah. I like what Lauren said. Tight hips too lead to back pain. And the reason, again, coming from an endurance perspective, we do mobility work a lot, right? And so releasing your psoas is one of the best things that you can do, because that psoas muscle connects from your hip up to your spine. And so that's, if you're a runner and you're having some back issues, put a yoga block under your lower back and with your heels together. You can Google it, but releasing your psoas is a great way to start.
Great conversation, guys. Great conversation, Marty, John, Richie. Good stuff around the lower body. And I think we got to talk more about this, because I think we got a lot of men, right, that complain about back pain and lower back pain. And John, I love your advice, man. Don't run away from it, guys. Don't run away from that back pain, because you're running away from that back pain and you're not doing anything to help it. Superman's, the stretching that Richie talked about, working on those hips. I'm telling you, ever since I decided to embrace yoga or just stretching, it's just changed my life. And John, I talked about before, putting my socks on, or Marty doing pigeon and doing hip work. Like, it has been a game changer for me as a 50-year-old man. Not pussy stuff. Man. Like, fuck, touching my toes, such enjoyment, quality of life. I'm telling you.
I would say the quality of life for someone that's having back trouble in their 50s, your life is really compromised, and you've somehow accepted it. You don't have to. You can basically 5 minutes a day, and you can change this 5 minutes a day to have a better quality of life. Who in the hell won't make that trade?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jimmy, great segment here in the gym with John and Marty here, and Richie Ingram joining us here today as well. We're going to bring producer Flynn up stage here. We're going to work towards wrapping up the last half hour of the show here. I know John and Marty and Richie got to rock and roll here. So let's do a quick round table and see how everybody enjoyed the show today. We kicked it off with some conversation about poop in the morning loop, and then moved into inviting MC, Dr. MC. We had a great conversation about how to unlock full potential, moving into the final part of that first hour about performance in the bedroom. But Marty, starting with you today, pal. Comments on today's show from you.
Great show. I love how Dr. MC was able to hop in our topics and give her own insight. A lot of people, they laugh at the morning loop and they're like, oh, you guys are hilarious. But she was able to hop in, give some insight, relate to Johnny with the bidet, the Japanese bidet. So that was amazing. I hope we can have her back.
I agree. We absolutely want to have her back. Richie, what'd you take from today's show here, brother?
Man, I really like the interrupter, the rubber band thing. I'm always looking for techniques to control emotions. And I will say this, I had an aha moment, because every time that I've ever seen someone wear a rubber band, I was always told at a young age that was so they could tell their left from their right, which is not the case. Hey, I learned something today.
It works, Richie. And again, not just the bedroom, but if you find yourself, your mind going all over the place, I'm telling you, it works. Because you just take your wrist, you just snap the band, okay, and it's out to give pain, right? I would encourage you to try it out for anything where you find your mind wandering into a ridiculous place. Johnny, what'd you take from today's show, brother? We had a lot of fun today.
Absolutely. So I like the audible you made, taking the mindset in the bedroom. And then Christina's segment was basically identifying that voice and basically sticking a sock in it. That was powerful too.
Yeah, absolutely. Flinner, what'd you take from today's show?
I love that Marty just put his sunglasses on midway through and just started rolling.
The gummies kicked in, baby.
And that happened, and
his gummies kicked in.
Like, all right, I'm different.
That's my alter ego, man.
It's on the table. What was the motivation to do it right in the middle of the show, brother? I'm just curious.
They sitting right here, man. I just put them on. Yeah, it was
nothing behind it. It's just like taking the junk out of the pants and keep on running, baby.
Same exact thing.
What you need to do.
I was chafing, man. I was chafing a little bit. So.
Yeah. I love when Marty's got the glasses sunglasses on because he becomes a little more unpredictable. So we'll encourage Marty to keep throwing Marty's chafe. Jesus.
Love it. That's a butt right there, man. I was chafing.
chafing.
He's just sitting in there and his junk's chafing on the chair here. So, yeah.
Junk out.
There you go. All right, guys, listen, Richie and Marty and Johnny are going to head out here, and me and Christina are going to continue with Community Corner. We're going to celebrate somebody in the Creator Spotlight, and then going to wrap up with business and branding. So, John, Marty, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Richie, we'll chat with you a little later today.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, Keith.
Later, y'all.
All right,
Have
y'all.
a lovely day.
Shit, everyone.
Thanks for hanging out today, guys. All right.
Bye, y'all.
All right. Okay. We're going to continue the show. We're going to keep rocking and rolling with the Community Corner, where we celebrate the creators and innovators in our community. And hey, Christina, going to put a rubber band on your wrist here today?
Maybe. I don't know. I need to know that makes me shove the voice away. Whereas I need to be aware of what the voice is and have a conversation with it to be like, no, you're okay. To me, I'm working on the rewire versus the forget about it.
Yeah, it's going to think out loudly for a moment here. I wonder if having that elastic band allows you to have a conversation with the voice, right? Where it's okay.
The trigger you want it to be.
Right. So you trigger, okay, the voice is there. There's the trigger. Let's talk to it. Let's not ignore it. Let's converse with it, have awareness with it. And then I just found it really powerful for me to create awareness. That's what I've used.
And we talk about this all the time. What works for you won't always work for me and vice versa. And that's like the beauty of it. There's no one way to any of this. You got to find what works for you. But when we put new ideas onto the table, that's a lot of fun because you can give it a try. And if it doesn't work, fuck it. Who cares? Move on. But if it does, wonderful.
That's right. Exactly. Okay, let's pivot to the Community Corner. Let's pivot to Creator Spotlight. I'm just going to move my stuff around here on the screen here, Jimmy. Today, we are going to feature an entrepreneur, an accomplished entrepreneur. Yep. This creator has built and sold companies, consistently sharing the valuable lessons there's the hook, Flynn, entrepreneurial journey. She's a power lifter. Dude, power lifter for Great Britain. I saw some notes about this. This girl, this woman, this chick goes. Power lifter for Great Britain. With remarkable discipline and focus, she balances her entrepreneurial career with her dedication to powerlifting at the national level. We should have kept Johnny around for this one. She's a visionary in AI coaching. She founded a company that I'm not going to name yet because I want to tease the whole thing. She has a platform that empowers coaches to scale their influence. And she has impact with an AI version. So she creates a platform that for coaches to scale their influence and impact with an AI version of themselves. Generating leads and nurturing prospects 24/7. So essentially, she's created a platform which gives coaches the ability to create AI versions of themselves. Now, I have followed this creator myself, Christina, before you and I met. I'm familiar with this creator. I saw her work on Forbes and I saw the platform she has been building along the way. So while I go ahead and get my lovely old screen get set up here, we're going to get our Creator Spotlight for this morning, Mornings in the Lab. And I'm just going to open this up here. Yep, there it is right there. So Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab, all the way from London, England, Britain. She's not here on the show yet today, but we're going to get her on the show. And I think she's doing spectacular work.
I am actually working with her and her team. They have brought together a bunch of creators for something called a Done With You program, where they're offering it entirely for free. It's starting tomorrow, and they are bringing all of us together to say, we're going to build the AI versions of you. And so I'll be able to also comment on what is the AI version, the K-bot is what I'm going to call it. What's K-bot going to be? Nice.
So after that big buildup, today it's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab. Celebrating in our Community Corner is Jody Cook. Yes, the founder of CoachVox. Jody, we are celebrating you here today. I love the work that you're doing. I have been following it myself. I know even Flynn, before Flynn introduced me to you, I was like, hey, she's doing some great work here. So Christina, why are we celebrating Jody Cook and the work she is doing on today's Creator Spotlight?
You think about business athlete energy, that's what Jody has, right? She embodies this mindset of the business athlete. Not only is she a national level power lifter for Great Britain, but she's also an entrepreneur who is using AI in a very different way that we've seen a lot of people use it. She's showing folks that if you are out there and you're creating content, or if you haven't even started yet, but you have this body of work, there's a way to take that body of work and put it to use. No one's saying you're pretending to be a real version of yourself, but using AI to do it. It's very much open and honest of like, this is my AI version. And what's awesome is that some people are using it as a lead magnet, but really it does the important thing in business, what we've talked about in the past, Keith, of allowing folks like you and I to scale ourselves. And I think we haven't even scratched the surface on what AI is going to be able to do for folks that are putting their work out there and do have a body of work. And then I just think from my perspective, she's just a really inspiring entrepreneur. She's very open about her story. She's open about what really drives her, what motivates her, what doesn't motivate her. And I think she's just a great person to follow if you yourself are building, because she acts as a consistent inspiration for that.
Awesome. Jody Cook, we are celebrating you here today. Mornings in the Lab, the Creator Spotlight, and you are now officially invited to come hang out with us here in the lab. And maybe you have somebody that you want to celebrate in your orbit that you think is doing great work. Come knock on our door. Let's come celebrate them on the Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab. All right, Tina, working the last segment here, business and branding. We're going to have a conversation on the business and branding side of things. I got to tell you, today's chat about everything was inspiring for me, because I think a lot of guys just don't know how to get themselves started. And the nuggets that MC dropped, and even just the elastic band thing. If you're in your head today, just put an elastic band on yourself and get moving. Just really simplifying it with a tactic. So
that's, as Johnny says, that's what we're all about.
That's it. Okay, let's dig into some business and branding conversation for a few minutes before we wrap up the show today. What do you want to talk about today?
I think for me, the discussion that I really want to have is related to, where are my notes? Da, 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 da.
That's my
sound. There we go. I know, right? I put it in the wrong thing. So what I really want to be able to do is talk about along this theme that we've had here, reaching your full potential by embracing discomfort. And I think that's the part that we don't talk enough about, especially as it relates to building your brand, especially as it relates to building a business. There's a lot of discomfort involved in that. So that's a conversation I want to have today. Let's start with just this idea of, what does that even make you feel? What does that make you think? When I say building a business, building a brand is all about embracing discomfort. Tell me about an example that you've had to experience of exactly that.
Yeah, I think when I hear that, what I hear is what many don't want to do. That's what I hear. My sneaking suspicion is when people hear that, it's just easier not to go and embrace discomfort. And I think that's the whole point of the show, right? Which is maybe we can give you things to consider to help you achieve those big goals, because to achieve big goals, there's going to be discomfort. And listen, Richie's buddy, Tommy's not running with his junk hanging out. There's obviously discomfort there. John's talked about discomfort to achieve crazy things. The reality is, to achieve massive, audacious goals, there's going to be discomfort. And I think I know it sounds very cliche, but unless you don't want to go down that path, then you're not going to achieve that big, audacious goal you're looking to do.
Where does it come from, though? This idea that, of course, you have to embrace discomfort. That's an obvious, that you would have to, but where does it come from that we grow up thinking that's not the case? I don't know where my idea of the people that I'm inspired by, they've just got it all figured out. The people that I'm inspired by, it's not hard for them. It's easier for them. Where did that come from? Why do we have that mentality?
You don't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. And I think in many ways, Lauren's comment was the best. Because her comment was, why are we calling it performance? If we stopped calling it performance, maybe men wouldn't be worried about going into the bedroom and not performing.
That's a valid point.
So when you talk about discomfort, culture's so used to celebrating success. We're so used to celebrating the hype. We're so used to seeing the end result. Yet we talk on this show about enjoying the process. Like Richie Rich. Who gets out of bed and says, all right, I'm going to go pace you, Christina. Yeah, what do you mean? I'm going to come hang out and run with you for 80 miles. For what? Because you're looking to win a championship? No, I'm just going to come pace for you. So Richie has chosen to embrace discomfort because he knows that's just the process to get there. But I just don't think it's a topic that's often talked about, because I think culture is so used to celebrating what happens at the end. It's that quick, I got to get to the end. Yeah, but there's a journey involved to get to the end. And that to me is the purpose of this show. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do. And I think to your point, there's a number of different things. There's this idea of easy life, hard things later, right? Easy life now, hard things later, hard things now, easier life. When you start thinking about things in a very less about the instant gratification and more about the long-term goals of what you're trying to do, I think that becomes easier of saying, yeah, if you do the hard things now in life, potentially the goal being active or putting yourself out there when you're uncomfortable, the benefits will outweigh the hard times now. And everything is really relative at the end of the day. I think for me, it's yes, fear of failure. I think where I want to go with this is what's the difference between the Rich that is able to do it on his own and embrace that discomfort in that way, and somebody that's, I need accountability. I need somebody to be alongside with me. This about me. I have thought about doing very drastic, extreme things to be like, I'm okay with discomfort in that moment. I'm not good at the accountability to get that moment. And I do have a very clear idea of like where I'm going and what I want to do. So like the vision stuff isn't the problem. What's the difference between like me and you get up every day and be like, I don't give a fuck. These are my non-negotiables. I'm going to embrace comfort today. And nobody's going to be beside me holding my hand. I
think MC said it. And this is not I'm just going to make a rhetorical statement, not directed at you, but just a rhetorical statement. I myself, John, these non-negotiables are my values. And I had to get so some point in my life journey, it became it's the fat kid in the mirror for me. I don't want to be that fat kid in the mirror. So I got to do the things that I do so I don't become the fat kid in the mirror. And I know I can speak for John, not being duplicit. I know I can speak for John. He has the same motivation. So again, if I'm going to look to you, perhaps there hasn't been a trigger yet for you in your 41 years. Maybe it's going to happen at 42. Maybe it can happen. And I always joke, Christine, it took me a long time to figure shit out. Like I didn't figure this shit out in my 20s. I didn't figure this shit out in my 30s. Like it took me a long time to figure these things out. So I'm going to invite you to consider that maybe just that trigger hasn't happened yet for you, which is that, and again, talking to you directly, that maybe just it hasn't triggered yet for you, where something has become that non-negotiable, right? Not rightly or wrongly. It's just it hasn't happened yet. And I think that's for sometimes somebody has to go to the doctor and say, okay, Keith, if you don't do this, you're going to die tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's like the human motivation in us. We always need that really shitty thing. And something that I haven't admitted to very few people, but when my brother-in-law died by suicide 2 years ago, I thought I had got that trigger. And I was like, maybe there's one thing positive that can come out of this. And maybe it's that was the shitty thing. John says this, don't let any bad thing go to waste. Maybe that's the shitty thing that I needed, but it wasn't in reality. And what actually happened was I became like desperate about needing to make that trigger a thing, needing to make that trigger like something that changed my life. And everything I did was in desperation because it was like, oh my God, my wife's not in a good place. We're not in a good place. And I really lost sight of what we talk about all the time, which is you still doing the hard things requires the long-term vision, but it also requires the plan on how you're going to get there. So I think I say that to almost warn people too, is just because something shitty happens doesn't also mean that's the trigger. There's got to be something internal that switches, but you want to make sure that you've got those really strong foundations. Otherwise, and I'm very honest about this, I took shit in a very wrong direction. I got very desperate in how I did everything. And my relationship 2 years later suffered really badly because of it, because I thought that was the thing. And then I shit on myself because I was like, your brother dying by suicide couldn't even do it for you? That couldn't even be the trigger?
That's deep. And that's clearly a reflective moment that you've had to have in your journey. And I think, Christina, that in many ways, as we work towards wrapping this up, is my ambition with this show. I'm hoping that something that I say or Johnny says or Marty says or you says during our 2 hours every morning, or Richie or Dr. MC or AJ or Jory, triggers in somebody's head. And it's, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm not going to hit the snooze button. I'm going to make a change. And I know there's somebody who listens to our show regularly who I talked to yesterday who made a change. Who's like, you know what? I'm going to shuffle my morning routine around so I can focus on my big goals. And I used to do those goals in the evening, but then my day got ahead of me. So something we said in our conversations triggered that moment. So I'm hopeful. And I think that's something that maybe we as humans need to maybe work on embracing, Christina, is that if we haven't had that trigger yet, it's okay too. It's like embracing that the trigger hasn't happened yet. So again, back to you and I, it's okay that you haven't adopted that non-negotiable yet. It's going to happen. And I think that's maybe it's allowing ourselves that grace, which is I'm moving in the direction to get to that non-negotiable, but I haven't found it yet. And maybe that's part of our process as human beings. And I'm hoping that this show gives people the ability to find a trigger moment to say, yeah, I heard Richie do this ultra marathon. I'm going to go try that. Or I heard Christina do this and I'm going to try that. Or I heard Keith talk about this elastic band thing. I'm going to try that. It's just finding those moments, right, to move forward.
That's what my hope is, because I think for me, if that trigger didn't do it for me,
Yes.
that's probably not what I need then. Probably what I need is the trigger of, like you said, hearing us say something and then light bulb switching off in our minds and being okay, that's where my hope for everyone is that they don't need something traumatic. They don't need a scare. They don't need like an awful thing to happen for it to trigger them. Hopefully having these conversations and us being really open about our journey is enough of that trigger for them.
Yes. And I'll close it with this. I love how MC brought it up. Sometimes it's putting your pants on in the morning and putting the belt on or putting the button, and it's,
yeah,
that belt ain't not where it's supposed to be. And next you're calling Marty or John saying, I need to make my belt smaller again. I need some help. And I think that's often the trigger for many of us, which is we look in the mirror and we don't feel good about ourselves. We put our pants on, we feel bad about ourselves, and then shit happens. But nation, business and branding, Keith and Christina here every single day, 9:45 Eastern time here. Talking to you guys business and branding conversation to help you guys move forward throughout your day and build your business and build your personal brand. We're going to get out of here. We got some work to do. I know you guys do as well. We're back tomorrow, Wednesday in the lab. I think we have Jay Malone joining us tomorrow. Jay Malone's going to join us tomorrow. We're going to talk entrepreneur. Jay has been a very successful entrepreneur. He's got some tips to help you guys move forward as well. So join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time, mornings in the lab with Keith, Christina, John, and Marty, and of course, producer Jimmy, and so forth. Flinner, let's get out of here. Great show today. Another great show today.
Great. Yeah, really great show. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow with Jay Malone, because he is a great transformation story of somebody that was in it. He had this agency. He's working fucking super hard. He's like, why am I doing all this? And what he figured out was he went the route of digital products and trying to figure out, how do I take all this stuff that I know and turn it into something that's going to benefit other people? And that's how I can approach making money. That's how I can approach helping people. So I'm excited to hear his journey as well.
So if you're in the digital space, you have digital products and are wondering about how to unlock the value of that or do something with that in your business, tomorrow's show, Jay's going to offer a lot of insight to help move forward on that. So we got to get out of here. The clock is up, Keith, and there's a sound effect you guys know. Jimmy, let's get out of here, brother. Tina, thank you. Johnny, thank you. Marty, thank you. Rich, thank you. Dr. MC, thank you. AJ, thank you. We'll see you guys later. Ciao, guys.